Where am I now? Celine, this looks just like my room. I knew it. I'm back in Ymir. I'm finally back home. My memories are kind of hazy now, but I think that means everything that happened in the mountains.
Why'd it get so cold all of a sudden? Oh, you finally woke up?
Yeah, just a second ago. How about you? Feeling better after a cat nap?
I guess. I slept more than I meant to, actually. You're awake.
Elise! Good morning. Actually, it's probably closer to noon now, isn't it? Elise?
Oh, I'm so happy that you're awake. You don't know how scared I was. There was all that chaos in the capital, and then we lost all contact with you. We had no idea where you were. I'm just so relieved.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry for worrying you so much, Elise.
No, you don't need to apologize. I knew that somewhere out there you were all right, and that you'd come back safe. Welcome home, Rean.
It's good to be back. And thanks.
I see our two little lovebirds are as Twitter-pated as ever. Pardon? Good morning, Rean. And to you as well, Elise.
Hey there. Just swinging by to see how you're holding up.
You're here too, Your Highness? I'm really not dreaming then.
Oh, you're so silly, Rean. I would have thought the warmth of your dear sister pressed against your chest was proof enough of that. Your Highness, please!
Well, I'm just glad you're up. How are you feeling? Still sore? You've been fast asleep since we brought you back here yesterday.
I don't have any serious injuries, at least. But I doubt I'd be able to say that if you hadn't come when you did. Thanks, Toval.
I suppose I owe you my thanks, too. That art of yours didn't come a moment too soon.
You're both very welcome. I just didn't want to give these two young ladies anything to cry about.
Aww.
I see you're finally up.
Dad! Mom!
Hello, Rean. It's wonderful to see you back home.
I imagine you have plenty of questions running through your mind, but first and foremost is getting you something to eat. We can discuss what to do from here on out after that.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the Trials of Cold Steel 2 playthrough. So, getting started in the second one, the game actually starts in earnest. The prologue's over, the tutorial's over, and the first thing you're going to be introduced to is events. So, events are displayed on the minimap. You only can do so many at a time normally. This first section is a little different because it wants you to continue the story by going through and talking to everyone. But generally, you only have a finite amount of what I call resources in order to talk to the people that you want to talk to. This is why it takes 2 playthroughs to complete this game, because there's just not enough of these points, these resources to go around, and you have to make certain choices that lock you out of other choices. So starting off right in the middle of the home, go ahead and talk to the Baron. He is required in order to progress the story. I can imagine what it would be like to, start off watching this before playing the first one, because you'd be so lost for probably, half the game. Because what they're talking about now is a character we'll meet later on, Laura's father, is the Viscount, still in charge of the Courageous, which was introduced towards the end of the first game. And they're talking about how the war broke out. Alright, so after you're done with this, downstairs, I do believe you have to talk to the mother as well in order to progress the story. And then there are a couple things that we need to grab that, as you can guess, have to do with achievements. The biggest achievements that come from collecting things are books and recipes. Those are the big 2. And of course, all books and all recipes are missable. If you don't get the ones you need in the chapter, or actually no, not even that, in the section that they're available, they're just gone forever, and you have to get them on the second playthrough. Always good to get a look at the minimap just to see what's around. But generally, whenever you first start out, the thing you want to do is go to the general store, because the general stores sell the books. They're going to be at the very bottom of the item list. And the 2 that we're going to pick up here are the Imperial Chronicle issue number 1 and the Gambler Jack reprint chapter 1. Go ahead and sell off all your Seraph Masks, which is what you get from defeating enemies. Besides selling unused items, that's probably going to be the single biggest contribution to your money that you're going to have throughout the entirety of the game. Trials of Cold Steel 2 does its wrap-ups at the very end, where it gives you a rank a little differently than it was in the first one. You also get paid at the end of those, but the money you get from completing every single mission, which is what we're going to do, is nowhere near the amount you'll get for just beating random mobs. Alright, so with those 2 things picked up, we're going to have to go around now and continue talking to all the people just to progress the story. It has been a long time since I played through this game the first time, so there are some things that I remember you have to do, and then I'm actually using a detailed list guide to show all of the missable things. The big things like the recipes and the books, I definitely didn't bother with just on a casual playthrough, but replaying this game, going for all achievements, I would rather be 100% damn sure that I'm going to get everything, because I do not want to play this game a third time. It's an awesome game, it's an amazing game, but you're spending probably 50 hours in the first playthrough, another 25 in the second playthrough. I'm not wanting to add on an additional 25 hours just because my dumbass missed something. So, at the end of each section, or when we go to a new town, I'm going to read off what we need to get, and then I'm actually going to check back and make sure that we have everything, because if I miss something, I'm not going to be happy with myself. Another thing Turbo Mode really just helps out with is how fast the dialogue boxes come up. Because the dialogue will not progress until you hit a button, so it just spawns a lot faster if Turbo Mode's going. So many just wonderful little things that Turbo Mode does that just make it a lot nicer just for a casual playthrough of the game.
If you've come to thank me for saving your butt again, save it. I'm just glad I made it in time. Princess Alphen and that sister of yours are the ones you should be talking to. You were on their minds this whole time.
Yeah, I can tell. I really do appreciate you coming for me, though. I was pretty far out from town, so I didn't think anyone would find me. Just goes to show what bracers can do, I guess.
About that. I wasn't actually the one who found you.
You weren't?
2 days ago, I got a call out of nowhere on my Arcus. They gave me this crazy amount of detail on exactly where to find you, then they just hung up. Didn't even say who they were. I figured it couldn't hurt to go take a look, and sure enough, there you were.
That's strange. I wonder who it was.
Wish I could tell you. I couldn't even recognize their voice. Nah, that's not really true. It was kind of familiar. Maybe. Whatever. No use dwelling on it. Right now, we've got bigger problems to tackle than mystery callers. There's the war, for starters.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Have you and the rest of the guild been doing much?
Well, we've been trying. We're pretty limited on what we can do, partly because we've all been split up since the war broke out. I don't even know if any of the others in Erebonia are okay, Sarah included.
It sounds like things have gotten even more serious since I was away.
Sure has. Not even regular civilians have been able to escape being affected by it. As it stands, the Noble Alliance has the overwhelming advantage, but the Imperial Army's showing no signs of surrendering to them, particularly in a few regions across the country.
I see.
Oh, and another thing you might hear. We've been getting reports of a few Jaeger Corps taking part in the war too, even members of Ouroboros. Probably just trying to stir up trouble of their own. It's what they do best. Then there's the fact that Erebonia isn't the only place with problems right now. There's so much to freak out about these days, it could drive you insane. Sorry, you've got enough on your plate without me dumping all this on you, huh? Try saving all those bad thoughts you got piling up for another day, okay? You need to focus on relaxing. You can decide what you want to do after that.
Sure. Thanks, Toval. You're probably right. You're just a fountain of good advice, huh?
I've just got a few years' worth of life experience on you, that's all. Oh, and while I'm giving you good advice, why not take a dip in the hot springs? Could be a nice way to clear your
It probably would. Hasn't let me down before. Maybe I should pay a visit to the Phoenix Wings later.
Alright, so after checking the Matoval here, the game's going to let us know that the character tab has been updated. Each character you meet in this game has their own specific character profile, and these profiles have 2 or 3 little tidbits about them that have to be filled out in order for you to get the trophy for it. If you miss even one, the trophy will not pop. This is why it takes 2 playthroughs, because most of these only come from certain interactions with certain characters, and those interactions, as you can guess it, eat up your resources. So just making sure that I had everything so far. I actually forgot about the recipe book and the first recipe you can get, but it doesn't really matter because the recipe at the Phoenix Wings is the one and only recipe that I know of that is not missable. You have to pick this up in order to continue with the game's main story, but all the other ones, completely missable. If you don't talk to the correct person in the correct section, it's gone forever, and you'll have to get it on your second playthrough. Now, most of the recipes aren't really all too useful. There are some, though, that give massive CP gains, so you can use your S-Craft arts more easier. But for the most part, you're wanting to just use the healing quartz or the character's innate abilities to heal. I used recipes more often when I was grinding than when I actually fought bosses, just because the recipes seemed just to be a secondary item and I would always forget. So talking to the head chef here, he is going to give you the recipe book and your first recipe. Like I said, I'm pretty sure this is the only one that the game forces on you. All the rest are missable. So just make sure that in every section you do, every act that you're in, you know where the recipes are and you grab them. And really, much like Trials of Cold Steel 1, the game does start off rather slow. You have the entire tutorial part, and then you have the entire township part. But after this and the next boss fight, the game does open up and it actually starts in earnest. I almost forgot about cooking. Man, I hate cooking. So, in order to get an achievement, you have to first find all the recipes. But there's a second achievement where you must cook each and every item and get each and every different sub-item of that one particular recipe. Normally, you'd think, oh, well, you know, it's not too big of a deal, it's just kind of grindy. However, some items can only be done with certain characters.
She's praying so intently. Thinking about it, she must be even more distressed right now than I am.
Why, hello, Reen! You're looking rather well today. Much better than you were yesterday, at any rate.
I feel loads better, actually. Thanks. How about you? Are you managing all right here? I'm guessing life in a tiny village like this is harder than you're used to. If there's anything I can do to make things easier for you, though, don't hesitate to let me know.
Oh, not at all. I've been simply loving my stay here. The scenery is stunning. The hot springs are oh so soothing. To say nothing of your mother's spectacular cooking. I'm having the time of my life here. I almost envy Elise for growing up in such a wonderful place.
I'm happy to hear you say that. Still.
On top of all that, I was able to reunite with you here. Oh, and meet a mysterious talking cat, too. Not everyone gets to do that now, do they? I still haven't had the pleasure of meeting that Ashen Knight of yours, however. Perhaps I might have the chance once he wakes up? I suppose I can dream.
Well... realize I'm the last person who has any right to say this, but there's no need to force yourself to bottle everything up and put on a brave face. I know how worried I am about my classmates, so I can only imagine how you must feel.
I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be royalty. I shouldn't be getting all worked up about something like this, but just thinking of what my family must be going through is just too much to bear. Cedric and we had a fight on the morning it all happened. I was planning to make up with him that evening, but
I'm sure he won't hold that against you. You'll be able to make up with him next time you see him. I'm sure that'll be sooner than you think, too. In the meantime, there's no need to force yourself to seem like being apart from them isn't bothering you. Royalty or not, no one would blame you for being worried or upset. And every single one of us here wants to do what we can to help you.
Thank you. I'm fine now. I hope I don't sound ungrateful, but I think you should be spending more time with Elise rather than me. This is your first chance in a while to spend some quality time together. I'd hate to take that away from her.
Why? I mean, it's true that she's a little more dependent on me than you'd expect for a girl her age. But that doesn't mean she needs me hovering around her all the time. Then again, she did seem more shaken up than usual. Maybe you're right. I should try and cheer her up while I still can.
That's not exactly what I meant. Oh, this is so difficult on a fair maiden's heart, I hope you know. You're just making me wish you were my brother all the more!
Why? Oh, here you are, Elise. Wasn't expecting to find the two of you together.
Well, it's quite cold outside, so I thought I'd come and give Celine some warm milk. I keep telling her that she doesn't need to go out of her way for me, but she won't listen. The steam here is plenty to keep me warm. Oh no, that wouldn't do at all. You saved my brother's life. At least allow me to try and make your stay here in Ymir a comfortable one.
Celine saved my life? And when exactly did this happen?
I told her nothing of the sort. I keep trying to tell her it's not true, but she won't believe a word I say. Is something the matter?
Nope, not a thing.
I'd really rather you didn't act like I saved his life, though. Besides, if anything, I should be the one who owes you. What do you mean? Nothing. Forget I said anything. The milk's cooled down a little now, so I'm going to have some. Thank you.
Thinking back on it, didn't Elise later say she spotted a cat when she went into the old schoolhouse? better not have been who I think it is.
Don't give me that look. I wouldn't have let her in there if I didn't think it was safe, you know? I was desperate. You just had such a half-hearted reaction to that door, so I started getting impatient and...
I can't believe you! She could've...
She wasn't in any danger, honestly. The Guardian in there was designed not to attack people unrelated to the trial. It didn't touch her even when she was right in front of it, right? That's proof enough. I'm sorry, okay? I never should have done it to begin with. Emma's lectured me over and over about it, too.
You're sorry? You...
I'm not sure why you're whispering to one another, but regardless, I want you to know how much I appreciate what you did. Like I said before, I want to make your stay a comfortable one. Whatever you need, please don't hesitate to ask. It's okay, really. And, sorry. Why are you sorry?
Well, she does genuinely seem to regret what she did. And at least didn't come to any harm. I guess I'll let her off this time. I really do have one amazing little sister. Compared to her,
Alright, so wrapping up those two scenes, you'll notice that you actually do get a character profile for your sister. Like I said, sometimes the game just gives them to you as a part of the story. Other times, you have to fight over it. So really, before we wrap up this episode here, there's only one more main thing that you need to grab, and that's the fishing pole. Because, of course, like every other thing in this game, fishing has trophies that are connected to it. However, unlike most of the other things that are just kind of for lore or for the story significance, fishing actually plays a nice role because there are several master quartz that you can get from trading in your fishing points. There's also some really nice items that are accompanied along with fishing. So it is good to do, but like the character profiles, like the recipes, you need to find the fish first. However, it is much more lenient with it, as I'm pretty sure there is one place where all of the fish show up. You just have to wait and remember to go back to that point when you get there. But anyway, yes, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this episode. We have the 2 books that you can get from the general store. We have the recipe book and the first recipe. We got all the character profiles for this little section. And we're going to get the fishing rod coming up. I spent a couple minutes at the very end of this just fishing away before heading back into town. Probably the best time now to do it, because afterwards you're going to get into what I would call the final part of the actual prologue before Act 1 really starts, and you just don't want to forget. You don't want to get all the way to that boss fight, and on the way back remember, oh, I never fished, so I do it when you get a chance. Also, the amount of ground bait you get has to do with what your rank was when you transferred it over from Trials of Cold Steel 1. So if you were the Black Angler, like I was, because you did all of the fishing, you got all of the items associated with that, and you got all the fish, it's going to give you 3 ground bait, which really isn't much. Kind of a slap in the face, like, hey, you worked so hard on this, here's a couple tadpoles for you. But, whatever. The game can do it at once. One thing I can say, though, is turn off turbo mode for obvious reasons. The button prompts don't register all of it if it's on turbo mode. So just turn it off. Or have a bad time. I mean, it's your choice at that point. If you want to just hurt yourself like that, be a little masochist, you are more than welcome to. I'm not going to do it, but you are more than welcome to.
Not bad.
Just watching this right now, I'm having PTSD flashbacks from Final Fantasy 15 when I had to sit there and grind out fishing for like 6 hours straight because I didn't do it for the entirety of the game.
Caught one.
Some fish can cough up really nice items. Usually it's more towards the second half or the end of the game before the items are actually really useful.
Not bad.
But still, you're getting something for it. And you do get a small amount of CP for each fish that you catch. So if you need to just kind of top yourself off after a fight, that's probably the easiest way of doing it without having to, expend an item or get in another, needless fight without having to really do anything else. We will be coming back for that fighter badge and the blind eventually. Both of those are pretty nice items. However, the blind is a little expensive. I'm pretty sure that you can craft a blind for a lot cheaper, but we'll see. Alright, and that wraps it up for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any comments, please post them down below. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw them down there too. I'll try my best to get to all of them. Thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate it. One last thing that I did forget. Make sure you buy 5 battle scopes from the general store. You will need them for fights coming up. Toval can do detection. He can use the detectability, but just make sure you're safe. Make sure you always have at least 5 of them on you. You never know when you might get pinned down. You just can't use them. Alright, have a good one.